Good evening and salutations, my survivor. So, tonight's question: has General Hospital completely destroyed Sam's character? I don't know what the hell I was that they're looking at. Was that a clone? Was she possessed? I mean, she sounds so stupid that she made Carly look like a genius. That's that's taking a lot of energy right there. That is really that's almost an accomplishment right there. Nothing Sam said made sense. Not one damn thing. Did they forget that she was team Jason not that long ago? What the hell is General Hospital doing? They just won some awards, right? Like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it all. General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Bold and Beautiful, Young and Restless. As you're coming in, make sure you did hit the like button. It really does actually help. Let's do a quick roll call. Get this started. War Hero is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Lashanta is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Tommy is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Laura B is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Tommy says I'm over Victoria and Nikki being mean to Adam. You know that's been like the running joke on The Young and the Restless for a while. Um, but actually, to tell you the truth, Nick was actually Nikki, yes, yes. And Victor still said no. It was like, oh well, we can both come back and we can sit there and run Newman Media. Victor was like, no, because I said so. It's my damn company. I do whatever the hell I want. War 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 Hero says Sam was replaced. Yeah, she was replaced. Yeah, she was replaced with a clone. It makes more sense. You know what? I'm gonna go with that theory. Lashanta said, didn't she guilt Spinelli into hacking the FBI? Danny needs exactly. Exactly. Black man is in the chat. How are you doing, my friend? And oh, yes, Lorby. I will go with that. War Hero says Adam should take over everything. Lashanta, Sam Carly should have smacked the fire out of her. I'm doing good, Black man. I'm doing pretty damn good. How am I going to put this in? But I'm doing good, Black man. How you doing? I made it through Hell Day. That happens in the chat. How are you doing tonight? Lashanta says Brooks an idiot. What Sheila's gonna do? I don't understand why you would sit there and talk about that in open space. That's the same thing with Teresa talking ish about um Xander in an open space. Like, what is wrong with these people? Francis is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Autumn's in the chat. How you doing tonight? Albert Sam was completely out of line mentioning Morgan. If I was Corey, I would have slapped the dog ish out of Sam. You know what I think? I think Sam is very much in love with Jason. Yeah. And she's going about it in a very stupid way. Oh, and remember because when Ronnie Raj in the chat, how you doing tonight? Tommy says Audra is stupid to work for Victor Newman. Absolutely. You're working for the devil at that point. You're working for the devil and you work for Victor Newman. So when she loses everything, I'm going to be very happy about it. When Carly said to Sam, you know what, you chose to be with him, you chose to have a baby by him, so you don't get to sit there and start changing the rules. And you know what Sam's dumbass said? I was in love with him. What is this chick? How is it possible that you sound that stupid? How is it possible that you're making Sam Sam McCall's character, this dumb. Oh, de Havilland. Sam's an idiot. And Carly straightened her out. Carly calls Sam on her BS. You should go back and watch it. It's actually good. That is actually very true. Lashanta says, why do Hope feel comfortable telling Stuffy about her husband? Yeah, she's definitely out of pocket for that. She was, Laura B. She was. Monique, so because Carly won't tell Jason to stay away from Danny if he gets hurt, it's on both of Carly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how stupid Sam says. How stupid Sam sounds. If anything happens to Danny, it's partly Carly's fault. Because Sam, it's not like Sam didn't have a baby with Jason. The stupid idiot that she is. No one cares at this point. If something happens to Danny, that's your fault. Sam. That is all your fault. You knew better. I don't give a damn about the whole I was in love with him. No one cares. No one gives two shits about that. You made your bed, you shut up and you lying. That's how that works. Damon says this version of Sam wouldn't be able to handle many Ruiz. Yes. What's good, Damon? LaShawn says Carson Bowman isn't leaving Days of Our Lives. He's just yes. No, he's not leaving. He's just taking a break. He's yeah. Yeah, most people know that. Eagle fan Albert Trevor was let go from Y&R. Confirmed exit AK. What? I'm sorry. Are you serious, Eagle Fang? That's a shame. That's a damn shame. I agree. Yeah, it's good to see you, Damon. And I agree, Laura B. Ed, everybody, Sam's going to Carly for help with her kid. Did pigs fly? Yes. Lashanta says Sam mad because Jason left and she broke up with him. Yeah, she's just all out of pocket. I don't know who this version of Sam is. Monique said that if so admit about Jason being away from Danny, then why is she going all out to help Jason and put Spinelli back? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Ron says, I would wish your take on Alex session with Marlena. Um, I have mixed feelings about it. I didn't think it was too bad, but I thought in some ways it's kind of stupid. I mean, I just don't believe that I don't believe that Alex loves Teresa. I believe that he still doesn't trust her, and he's forcing himself to go along with her because he doesn't want to lose her. So he doesn't actually fully trust her. That's why he asked Marlena, "Should I trust her?" And Marlena couldn't even give her a couldn't give him a straight answer because you know the answer to that. Jillian. Jillian says Sam is ridiculous. Completely agree with Carly today. Yep. If that happens, says Albert, they killed Todd Manning on Channel 2, Channel 4, stories, channels, the stories. What do you mean they killed Todd Manning? What does that mean? What do you mean they killed Todd Manning? As the days was filler today, I didn't really see the point in Leo or Marlena saying it. I didn't, but it sets up the meeting that Leo's gonna have with his mother. And Monique says both Dante and Jason have dangerous jobs. Both have no guarantees they will make it home alive, and not to mention the Sunny factor. There we go. The hypocrisy in Samantha McCall's so-called logical thinking. I like these chips, but they're no, Ron. She's being stupid. Rashawn says Stephanie Forster cannot have things her way. Her father wants Brooke to be co-CEO. LaShawn, she's not being professional. If you can't put aside your feelings for the betterment of the company, then maybe he should sit there and rethink his his position and keeping Steffi as CEO. War Hero says, could Anna be in line to control a Piper? Really want to make a lot of sense. Jillian says Stephanie was insufferable today. She must think her problems are what matters the most. Of course, Jillian, and she's also a control freak. Uh, those chips are good, but look how messy that they are. Ooh, okay, that was a lot. Tommy said, who's going to replace Tucker? Are they going to kill him off? That's a good question. Devlin said Trevor, he played Tom Manning on One Life to Live. Now he's playing on Channel 2 or Channel, I believe they're, oh, okay. Yeah, Devlin, you're talking about them, um, you're talking about Trevor leaving the show. Yes, Devlin, he is on Channel 2, as Tucker. And apparently he's leaving the show, which is really odd. No, Ron, I wasn't surprised by that. Autumn says, if I remember correctly, Sam ants were the one that killed Morgan. Ava tampered with Morgan's bipolar medicine, sent him right to the blank ridge on Rick Card that was meant to kill Julian. Yep, that's very true. Very true, Autumn. Very, very true. Nah, that ain't happening, Eagle Fang. They're not gonna sit there. I don't, Eagle Fang. I don't know what they're gonna do with Roger Howard, but like, yeah, I don't think that's happening. As says Sam and Carly friendship is a joke. They put more effort into the first time around before Jason was revealed to be the Drew before Steve Byrne returns. Lashanta says, is anyone forgetting Stephanie got Forrester back in the family from Bill? Yeah, I mean, that has nothing to do with her not being professional now. Tommy says Adam don't need to go back to his old ways. Adam needs to focus on his son. That's true, but he can do both though. The two don't need to be mutually exclusive. Lovey says anyway, Holt didn't do anything wrong yet. They're jumping to conclusions. Are they though? Because you know how Hope is. She had fantasies about Thomas before she wrecked her own marriage. So if we go by patterns, Shaquita says Steffi is the one got the family company back from Bill. She was almost going to marry him. Oh, okay, yeah, I heard about that. Eagle Fang says Steve laughed at one of my jokes today because the fans are complaining about the pacing of the Pipeman story. I said it's taking Cody longer to tell Mac than he is. Oh, nice. He was doing a live stream. Nice. That's what's up, Eagle Fang. Warrior Hero says Adam needs to put together an army. Yeah, who's going to be part of this army? Ed, I like the callback. He was like, you kind of remind me of my friend, except for the blonde and everything like that, and the feisty attitude. It was a nice, good callback for him. Yeah, so Julian says, I think Sheila will be using the fact that she knows hosts have. Yes, she definitely will, Julian. You heard what she said? She was like, I wish Ben was with somebody who would accept me. What's good, Deluxe? Monique says, Host panties get wet when any man tells her she is special, she is beautiful. If Carter tells her the same thing, she'll be having fantasies about Carter. Yes. Yeah. So Shaquita, she definitely need to be doing something else instead of fantasizing about about somebody's about a married man. Well, yeah, I mean, Ron, that's a stupid thing to do. Um, but it's a soap trope that they do. They got a monologue like a DC villain, okay, and then when somebody walks in, then they got to sit there and try to cover it up. Every soap opera does that, and it makes no sense every time they do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, that's very true, Lord B. Also, the fact that she got three other kids that she should be focusing on. So, that's something else, right? She constantly sits there and obsesses over Finn. Like she doesn't have three other kids to sit there and focus. Also, I didn't sit there and say this, so I'm going to say this. Oh, I'm going to sit there and say this now. I missed your comment. Don't take offense. There's 32 people in the chat. There is one of me. So, if I missed your comment, I will sit here and try to get to it. I will try to address every person in the chat. Tommy says, I don't like Steph. Yeah, because she thinks she's the queen of LA. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here tonight. Deluxe says Sam totally forgot about she was jealous that Liz had a baby by Jason. She begged that. Yep, there we go. There we go, Deluxe. Ron says, what do you think about the Chad, Julie, and Jackson? It was filler and it was pointless. I mean, honestly, tell you the truth, Ron, the most of the episode was filler and somewhat pointless. I mean, they lied to Jack. Jack is eventually going to figure it out. So it's just delaying what's already going to eventually happen. Ego says, I forgot about Carly Charles and Sam Webb today. These writers should be ashamed for ruining these characters like Sam, Sonny. I can go on and on, no point. I don't even understand what his plan is, Tommy. It's like he really plans on screwing over Jack 7 ways from Sunday because Jack helped out his wife. Jillian says Sam used to like the danger. Jillian, Sam used to be a good character. Sam used to actually be a good and cool character. Then General Hospital decided to destroy her character. Monique says Sam acted the way when she had that cat disease. She started hallucinating. I think she's a clone. I'm gonna go with she's a clone. Big Nate, what's good, bro? What is good with you? How you doing tonight? I feel like I need another goddamn table. They're okay. Really? Why doesn't Drew running for Congress fit now? Ed says Sam keeps saying Jason's dangerous. Yeah, she's putting herself in danger with the FBI. Yep, putting herself in danger, putting her freedom in danger, putting Spinelli in danger and his freedom. But no, 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 no. Jason is the problem. Ron says, "I don't. Why when you watch any of the podcasts? I don't watch any of the podcasts. No one wants to have Ron because she's a 68-year-old woman. That's why. But I don't watch any other podcasts, so I don't know about that. Ron, I think that's just common sense. What's good, Darby? What's good? What's good, my guy? Nate says the problem is the writing is inconsistent when it comes to Sam. I wouldn't be shocked if by Thursday Sam is back to being pro Jason once again. Exactly. It literally threw me when she said, "Carly, can you tell Jason to leave Danny alone? What happened to the whole Danny needs his father? Like, I'm not listening there. Like, was the writers drinking when they decided to write this scene? Was the writers? Darby says, "Did my eyes deceive me, or were you eating junk food?" You know, Darby, the only person actually commented on the fact that I was eating something other than ramen, which is actually still right there. But yes, you're the only person that actually did comment on that. I mean, this shit is kind of inconvenient because I don't know where to put it at. But yeah, oh, that wine actually hit me fast. Solomon. Not gonna stay long. I'm just gonna come back later, but I can tell y'all that in case you didn't know, yeah, I heard it's wild to me. I gotta sit there and try to read up on that. Maybe I'll do a video on it. Darby says I would both hoping Sam needs CAT scans for their head. Darby, I figured it out with Sam. She's a clone. Okay, she's a clone. That's what it is, Darby. She's a clone. Well, of course, Lashanta. She's working with the devil. Ed says, I'm Team Carly. You know what? You could just sit there and say you're Team Logic today, and that's totally fine too. Because Sam was giving none of that. Ron says, I do agree with Sheila that she wants another doctor to check her out because she doesn't trust Lee. Well, yeah. Ron, I'm pretty sure Lee said she was going to unalive her, so yeah, Julie, let me tell you something. When she brought up Morgan, I wanted Carly to smack the living fire out of her. Susan R. The only way I see Valentine redeeming is if Alex is posing as Anna and Val saves the real Anna, who Alex has been somewhere. Hmm. What's good, Susan? Yes, that's and Tracy Steves. What's good? Happy. Tracy. You know what day this is. You know what day this is. That may be the day for James, but you know what day this is. Monique says I agree. Albert Sam has adopted. Yeah, she's a clone. She's a clone, and that's what I'm gonna choose to go with because I don't know what the hell I was looking at today. Darby says a clone with a lot of Botox. Oh, come on, Darby. Come on. Don't do that. You know we don't body shame here. Maybe in Kyrus' live stream, y'all do that, but Lashanta says, how is Kate so dumb? That's a damn good question. Jillian says, how are y'all liking the geocactus so far? Yeah, chat, how are y'all liking the geocactus so far? Tracy says, I miss y'all. I went to also, so couldn't watch you as much. Oh, went to Alaska. Oh, okay. I was Alaska, by the way. And I miss seeing you as well. Justin says Carly Justin said Carly was worse as Sam, but she was a little right. Sam is a whiner. Sabrina says Lee's going to unalive make sure she's gone for good. Unalive, Darby says, can I live shit? Come on, Darby. Y'all keep that nonsense in Tyrese's live stream. I'm a little tipsy right now, but I'm still in my senses. Certain things I'm not actually a fan of. But I mean, Darby, let's be honest. Let's just stick to the fact that Sam has been acting like an idiot today. An absolute moron. Solomon says, I have to say, I'm not upset about Tucker leaving at all. I'm actually excited. Thank you, Lord. Yes, Master, my prayers are finally answered. No more Tucker and Audrey love song. I knew you was going to get to that, Solomon. Listen, Solomon, I can deal with a little semi-naked of Tucker if I get to sit there and see Audrey. Come on, my guy. Solomon, you telling me that Audrey isn't worth that they're seeing a little bit of Tucker? And says, what do you think about Lucy and Needy today? And do you think Lucy is going to do something about it? What do you think Lucy and Needy today? Hmm? I don't understand the question. Let's keep this real. Um, Sam's an idiot. Anthony, the number one YouTuber, how are you doing today? Jillian said, watch one of Brock TV's recent reviews, and he said the quartermain match has turned into an Airbnb. you know, damn, that's actually very true. That's actually very true, Jillian. Damn. As says, you think Lucy and Scott needed today? No, they. The only reason why, that the only reason why Scotty was needed was to sit there and tell the audience that he's representing Heather. That was it. That was the only reason why he was needed, and they could have did that off screen. So yes, technically they weren't needed. No. And Anthony, the number one YouTuber, how are you doing, my guy? Deluxe says, I believe Jagger's lying about the proof he has on Anna. What will be his motivation? Ron says, what was your take on Xander telling Maggie about constantly unliving? Um, I liked it. It was real. It was honest, Ron. Because let's be honest, Xander didn't have to shoot Constantine. He could have sat there and just helped out helped out Teresa, and he didn't have to sit there and unalive them. He chose to do it out of revenge. And I thought that was actually pretty interesting, if nothing else. Maybe, maybe, Susan. Rashata says, Scotty would do anything for you. Goddamn right. Listen, feelings don't pay the bills. Okay? No, he has not. Julian says, I'm glad it looks like Finn and Liz are over. Hate that he's drinking, but never got on board with them as a couple. No one seemed like they have it. I need to take a drink first before I read this comment. Solomon says, hell to the no, Albert. I don't care how sexy Audra looks. I don't want to see her waste her body for some slimy old man. Well, Solomon, I respect your opinion. For me, she's worth the sacrifice, but I see your point of view. Ed says, is Gio just being put in random scenes? Yes. What was that when he was playing his violin while Cody and Sasha was about to sleep together? And I've been saying this for a while. They just throw Gio in these scenes. They shove him in these scenes. And Ed, The proof was to that. The proof was literally to that. He was not needed. He could have sat there and had their loving in the afternoon, or as Jess says, smash, because that's sexy. Um, they could have did that. No, we had to sit there. Darby says, is Tucker leaving the show? Yeah, according to the two people in the chat so far, yeah. Tucker is leaving the show. But let's be honest, Darby. Does Tucker actually has any other point? Thank you, Susan. Make sure you hit that goddamn like button because it really does actually help. It gets more people into the chat and it reminds YouTube that this is the number one soap opera live stream channel. So I'm going to check and I'm also going to sit there and cheat as well. So thank you, Susan R. I always appreciate you. Unfortunately, now I have to sit there and listen to the sound of my own goddamn voice. So this is very unpleasant. I don't understand how y'all people actually listen to me. Oof, what's that sound like? Okay, so it's 20, okay, 23 likes and 41 people in the chat. So we're getting there. Getting there. Amber, how you doing tonight? How are you doing tonight? Yeah, Lobby, they were interrupted by Geo. I'm sorry, Lobby. It's just like they were interrupted by Geo. Susan said Tucker didn't post that he's never coming back, just that he's leaving for now. Lashata says Mac is coming back tomorrow. That's right, the Mac is back, and CJ Clove is in the chat. Why is it so loud for? That's right, Lashata. And Dolomedics, how are you doing tonight? Darby says Albert about Hope getting a CAT scan on her head because along with the fantasies, she also has a massive headache. Do you think it's a tumor? I hope not, but there's a lot of fans that think they're saying that it is. Gorgeous, sexy queen cat ladies in the chat. How are you doing tonight? Dan Tucker's leaving for how long? Yeah, leaving the show. And Laura B says, come on, chat, 41 people and 24 likes. Even it out. Yes, let the math start. Let the math start mapping people. Thank you, Laura B. I appreciate you. Ah, it's DC. The one and only DC effing Soap Sanctuary. Yeah, I'm so glad that you noticed that, Dolomitics. Yes. A lot of people, that was actually a good callback. CJ Close says, Albert, I love your J's review today, especially about Sam. Yes, thank you, CJ Close. Thank you. Yes. I was confused. DC said it would have been better if you said DC Mother Loving Soap Sanctuary. I would have been. But I've been drinking, so I think that was the best I was able to do. Sorry, DC. Eagle Fang, that's a no. That's a no. I'm gonna sit there and say right now, no. Eagle Fang, do not waste your time watching Days of Our Lives. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't. You can just watch my review. I actually got to post it, DC. I mean, I actually got to post it, Eagle Fang. Go watch my review. Yeah, DC, that's apparently what people are saying. Of course, Eagle Fang, you know I got your back. Listen, time is a valuable thing. And yeah, I will after the stream. Okay. Yeah, time is a valuable thing. I will tell you if you need to skip stuff. And yeah, you can skip it. Come on, DC. I've been drinking. Why do you guys sit there and bring up that nastiness? DC, why you gotta bring up that goddamn nastiness? Uh, Donai says you look better as a brunette and you remind me of my friend, but her hair and accent is better. Yes, I'm so. Yes, that was a very good callback. Kyrie's the one and effing only. How's my boy Kyrie's doing tonight? Eager says yes, it is. I can be spending more time working out. Don't go on Eagle Fang. There's gonna be some good days episodes coming ahead. So this just isn't one of them. Jonathan, what is good, my friend? Tommy says Audrey and Nate is going to date. Yeah, I mean Tucker's not going to be on the show anymore, so why not? Now I like this comment. Ed says Days need to do something more with Bonnie and Justin, or just Bonnie. What was the point in telling Adrian off that you're not going to give Bonnie some? Give Bonnie a good goddamn storyline, is what we're saying. Darby says, but Abby, you always been drinking. I'll never speak about it again if I wait for you to stop drinking. Darby, I have not been drinking and I only just started recently drinking. So that doesn't count. Yeah, Johnson, people have been telling me in the chat. Gemini, what's good, Gemini? But yeah, Jonathan, I heard. It's kind of unfortunate, actually. I like Trevor Noah. I was always more partial to Roger Howard being Todd, but oh, hell no. I need to sit there and take a to the washroom anyway. Shakira, how are you doing tonight? Gemini says now Anna is running pipeline. What are those writers doing on GH? Is Jagger dumb or stupid at both? Well, dumb and stupid are kind of the same thing, but yes. Oh, my bad, Jonathan. Trevor St. John. What did I say? And what's good, Gemini? You know, Tommy, I heard the ladies like him shaggy. Like him shaggy. DC says I'm interested in a new doctor. And Liam, maybe they can go the guiding light route with those two. I'm just playing. What's the guiding light route? No, 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 DC. What's the guiding light route? Tell us what the guiding light route is. DC, I want to know what the guiding light route is. Harry says lies and fallacies. You only recently start drinking enough of. You only start drinking enough for your lies. Well, yeah, that's what I said. Uh, DC says the guiding light route is the kissing cousin Jonathan and Tammy, but I was playing. But DC, you like that story though, right? DC, you like that story of Jonathan and Tammy kissing? Um, them being cousins and everything. Tell us in the chat that you like that you actually was for that story. Johnson says, I personally hope he goes to GA's next. I know think that the cast is bloated, but he will be a good addition. He would actually. Cat Lady says, so if Scotty is Heather's lawyer, we don't have a thing to worry about. I love Cat Lady. Eagle saying, Albert is drinking because of how bad G's characters are being ruined. Yes, yes, I'm with that. Yes. Carrie says Albert's not drinking is like Tracy Ever not being. Carrie, I'm drinking. Don't say that nasty shit to me. Don't say that nasty shit to me right now, bro. Jonathan, did you feel like what happened with Sam being Team Jason? He says, I met a lot of people like that story. Look it up or trying to shame. Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, DC, you're my guy and I love you. But y'all people must be out your goddamn minds if y'all rooting for kissing cousins in a storyline. That's just nasty. That is nasty as hell. You know, one thing I like about you, well, one of the main things I like about you, Kyrie, is your sense of humor. And oof, you're on fire tonight. Johnson says everything Carly said was right. Yeah, I know. Jonathan, I'm going to sit there and say that Sam is a pod person. She's a clone. Tommy says nastiness. Yes, nastiness. DC says Candace Mack rooted for them. James rooted for them. Brock rooted for them. Well, DC, that's not voting well for them. I'll tell you that much. I don't know how in your I don't know how any of your moms could sit there and root for kissing cousins. Y'all are fucking nasty. I'm sorry. Y'all my peoples, but y'all people are fucking nasty. Kelly says Albert is judging about the cousin thing. Cough cough. Cat lady, where's the joke at? I wanna hear the joke. Come on, cat lady. I need a good laugh. Where's the joke at? DC says, I mean George Washington married his cousin. Yeah, oh then he was definitely fucked. Come on, bro. DC, you're a very smart and intelligent man. What in the hell? Carries. Can you imagine Nicky Newman in a thong? Can you imagine Nicky Newman in a thong? Gubby says about those CAT scans for hope we can have certain others in this chat get them too. Yeah, clearly. Domex says I was dragging us over a 15-year-old story and we kind of had it come. Domex, you goddamn right we had it coming. That's some nasty shit right there. Kelly says, oh, he is judging me. You must be forgetting. Oh, he is judging me. You must forget. What am I forgetting? No, 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 no. Kelly. I want to hear the joke. Come on. Tell me a joke. I like to laugh. I'm kind of tipsy right now. I want a good laugh. DC says the Queen of England was married to her cousin, Philip Prince. Yeah, I heard he was nasty as well. What the hell are you talking about, bro? DC has brung up some not good candidates to support this nasty ass argument. Kelly says, nope, you already judged me. I'm sure someone here remembers. No, you already judged. No, you already judged. I'm pretty sure someone here remembers. Okay, cat lady, why don't you sit there? No, I want to hear the joke. Okay, so how about you text me? I want to hear this joke. Come on, Kyries. You can't imagine her sitting there dancing to the thong song? Jody says, Albert, never in your life don't you repeat those damn words. That's funny. No, no, no. I want to hear the joke, cat lady. No, 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 Kyrie. She talking about Nicky Newman and the damn thong. Yeah, Lisa. Apparently, people are saying that he left the show, which is crazy. No, Kyrie. Johnson says a lot of dirty minds here. I'm just saying, Johnson. I'm just posing a question for our dear friend Kyrie Clark. That imagine Nikki Newman dancing to the thong song. I mean, I already said that the chick was. I already said that the woman was glowing. Oh, okay, that's kind of a lot. Yeah, I'm very sad that it's almost over. It's almost done. DC says, "What Michael Q in the thong? I'm just playing. Apparently, chips of ruffle." Still waiting to see what Cat Lady has to say. Eagle Fang says Albert is drinking his Finn special. What? Eagle Fang says Albert is drinking his Finn special tonight. I like that. I like that. You got points. You got style, my friend. You got style. Yes, Darby, dong, to dong, dong, dong. Yes. You know, Darby, if Jess was here, I'm pretty sure she would clown the shit out of me. But she's not here, so. Tommy says Nikki should be a strip back in the day that never, that now she meant Victor. DC says, do you remember this? Cat lady, I'm so wondering, what is your, what is the secret, cat lady? Do I have to send you the link? Monique says Sam should ask Alexis how well that worked out when she tried to keep Christina away from Sunny. Christina rebelled. Now Danny will do the same. Very true. Dory says, what would she call you drunk? Kylie says, oh, okay, cool. No, 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 no. What? Johnson says, haven't they mentioned Trevor? No, they haven't. Now, Kyrie, before I read this, I'm going to sit there and take a drink. But cat lady, I don't want to forget it though. Carrie says, I want to see GH Deanna and Tracy Abbott give each other long massages at the beach. Carly, Carly, Red, Sam, I'm here for it. Well, that second sentence, I can fully support. I can, no, 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 no. Oh, shit. Hold on. Kyrie says, I want to see GH Deanna and Tracy Abbott give each other long massages at the beach. You're not reading this shit, right? I want to keep that up because I want everyone else to sit there and read that. Thank you, Jonathan. Tommy says I'm reading it good. I want everyone to sit there and read this shit. Tommy got some good sense. You know, DC, I'm not even gonna sit there looking at you crazy because it's not like I don't like my big chicks. Okay, I love my big chicks. I really do. Um, I think they can take a certain amount of punishment, but what in the fuck is Kyrie talking about? What in the hell is Kyrie talking about? Kyrie's is my guy, but Jesus Christ, bro. Like I said, I love my thick chicks, but oh, and Valerie's in the chat. And you know what, Valerie, how you doing tonight? Oh shit. Shaquita says Tracy looked good today. Okay. You know what? I'm not even gonna sit there and body shame. Sure, sure. And Lisa, how are you doing tonight? Hey, Antoinette, how you doing tonight? Oh, from the golf course. Carrie says Tracy's not big. She's extra medium. Get it right. Oh, Carrie's. I needed that laugh. Thank you. Besides, I think that the chat needed that laugh as well. Tracy's not big. She's extra medium. Get it right. Oh God, that was good. I like that. DC says. So wait, did the athletic club change sets or are they in Paris? Nice, Solomon. You with that nastiness as well. Tracy is always beautiful and my favorite. Yeah, Antoinette, she's she's what you said. Um, Johnson says Annie. Oh, Jonathan, is that supposed to be the chick that's supposed to be replacing Abby? Jillian says I already thought Carly was going to slap Sam. When Jillian, if this was the '90s, then yes. If this was the '90s, then yes. Krista, I'm so glad GH is making a stand and supporting Tabia. Yeah, I am too. This racist shit needs to stop. Big Samuel, what's good, my guy? Darby says, Albert, I didn't know it was a comedy show here. Yeah, Tyrese is bringing the heat. He's bringing the comedy. Johnson says the character she playing hasn't been confirmed yet. Okay. Oh, DC, there was a lot of racist people who said a lot of mean, nasty, disgusting things, and the G's cast just had enough. They just had enough. And let's be honest, this really does suck, though. You know, cat lady, I was gonna sit there and text you, but I'm so tipsy I forgot what I was actually gonna text you about. So yeah, I totally forgot what I was. No, what was the joke? Cat lady, you can't tell me what the joke is. Do you want to text me? I want to hear the joke. But yeah, DC. Ed said this was the early 200 cents would have had it. Thank you, Ed. But we live in a very PC culture. Oh shit. Krista said Carly is absolutely calling Sam out for her behavior towards Jason about Danny. It's about time someone asked her the question. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know what? Okay, cat lady, could you text me then? Because I kind of want to know the joke. If you want to tell me, I want to hear the joke. I want to hear whatever it was. I'm very curious about what it was, though, Kelly. So if you can text me, that'll be much appreciated. That's true, Jonathan. But they're on they're on. Jonathan. It's really sad. I'm trying to actually make excuses for the show, and I really don't have any. Lorby says I didn't hear that about Tavi. I'm glad she has support. Yeah, Lorby. Twitter is toxic, and they say a lot of nasty, disgusting things because Twitter is all about freedom of speech. And unfortunately, people will be wilding out. Kyrie says, I thought of a crossover couple, Tracy and. Oh, okay. So Kyrie's. I'm gonna sit there and put this out there. Kyrie says, I thought about a crossover couple, Tracy Abbott. Tracy Abbott from The Young and Restless, and Sonny Corinthos from General Hospital will be a good pairing, according to Kyrie's Clark. This is Kyrie's Clark right here. Kyrie stands on business. Kyrie is a joke. Well, Jonathan, of course not, and a real goddamn. But Jonathan, how about we pretend that it works? How about we pretend that it works? DC says Tracy is too nice for Sonny. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's totally it. You're right about that. That's the absolute take we should take from that. Kyrie says yes, but she would make Sonny a better man. But Ed, according to Kyrie's Clark, yes, but she would make Sonny a better man. LaShanta, Kyrie's Clark would never troll. Okay? So when he's saying this, he is being absolutely 100% sincere. Ain't that right, Kyrie's? Samuel says GHS is one of the worst fan bases I've ever encountered. Nope, Samuel, you're wrong about that. Star Wars has the worst fan base ever encountered. Yes, thank you, Lovey. Thank Kyrie for the super chat. But Samuel, you're wrong. Star Wars has the worst fan base. I'm sorry, what did you say? I mean, of the so, really? Why is that, Samuel? I want to hear that. I want to hear the reason for that. And what's good, Sean? Leave my Tracy alone. She's finding her own for now. I'm very curious about your opinion, Samuel. D. Domex says I'm here for it. Sonny is completely the right age for Tracy. He's actually a little old for Carly and Brenda. Okay. No. Someone says, y'all are tripping. Nate would rock Tracy's world and give her a heart attack to boot. Yes. Tommy says Phyllis and Sunny together. Tommy says Tommy says Phyllis and Sunny together. See, that would actually make more sense. DC says now Paulina and Sunny. DC once again proves that he is the king of being the troll in my chat. Y'all see this shit, right? Sammy says whether I hear something crazy or off the wall when it comes to SO fans, they are more often than not a GH fan. You might be right about that. You might be right about that. But Sammy, I'll actually talk to you. You got a lot of good points. Um, I'll Ed says I would want to see a GH and why not crossover with the Newmans versus the Corinthos. Ed, how about the Newmans versus the Quartermains? DC says I'm the VP of Troll Affairs here at Boston County Brothers, one of the best in the business. You goddamn right, DC. But of course, Tyrese is trying to V for your spot, but he's actually trying to V for your slot. It seems like Cat Lady completely forgot what I was actually asking for. Joshua says The Newmans versus the Kyriokises. Jonathan, does this fantasy include old Victor? Old Victor in there? Old Victor versus new Victor? Because then I'll be there for it. Samuel says Victor will crush Sunny. Crush Sunny? Think so? Kerry says never because I've never been a troll. You know, because I know how Kyrie's looks, I can picture his face. Tommy says Victor is ruthless. Sunny's ruthless also. Johnson says Victor N versus Victor Kiriakis. Who would win that battle? Victor Newman versus Victor Kiriakis. Crystal says, I remember vaguely that it was mentioned by the fans that Morgan may be alive because his credit card was used in Australia. That was mentioned in the show. George says, Albert, as much as I like the Quartermains, the Newmans would eat the. I agree with that. I agree with that, Darby. JC says that VP of Trolling Affairs have pronounced that Felix on GH is a love child of Paulina and Sunny. You know, Paulina, yes, but Sunny? Now, Jonathan poses another good question. Or how about the Newmans versus the Damaras? Damaras will clean them out. I'm voting for the Damaras. Tommy says Abbott versus Damaras. Damaras will clean them out. Sorry, but Damaras would literally wipe them out. Curry says Abby is the most self-centered daughter on the planet. Why is that? LaShanta says, Albert, why Drew talk to everyone but Sam about and that's actually a really good question, LaShanta. You have a good point. Why does Drew talk to everyone except for the woman that he actually has a fucking kid with? Thank you. Thank you, LaShanta. You have a very good point. Ash says, what about the Buchanans versus the Newmans? Ooh. You're dealing with Asa, and you're dealing with Asa. You're dealing with Asa. It'll be Asa versus Victor Newman. Ooh, who would win? Asa Buchanan versus Victor Newman. Now, Kyrie says not one thought of her mother during her mental illness. Tucker told Abby to check on her mother more often. She couldn't still be bought. To be fair, Curry's, she didn't know it was that bad. And it was coming from Tucker. Let's be honest, Curry's. It was coming from Tucker. She can't stand Tucker. I'm sorry, my guy, but I gotta sit there and go with Abby on this one now. Antoinette says, Asa hands. Thank you. Thank you, Antoinette. Asa hands. Thank you, Tracy. Kyrie says, EJ Demera versus Sonny Corinthos. Sonny. I'm going with Sonny. Tamara, Asa all day. Effing Asa all day. Yes. Lisa said you probably assume Sam and Scott will be okay with. Yeah, ain't that something? He would just assume shit. Johnson says the mayor versus Cassadines. Damn. I would probably sit there and say the Cassadines would win it. If you had, like, you gotta sit there and think about this. You have to have all the Cassadines. You gotta have Starbucks. You have to have Victor Cassadine. The mayors wouldn't have a chance. Wait, Jonathan, does this include Stephen Cassadine? If it involves Stephen Cassadine, then they may have a chance. Very true. Sure, Darby, but it's not always about the numbers, Tom. Tommy says the abbess should have told Abby about her mother in the beginning. That's actually very true, Tommy. Antoinette says Ed says Spencer's versus the Whartons. Spencer's. Antoinette says Newman's versus Dorian Lewis. Now I don't know about that. Johnson says what happened Miko's Casson and Stephen Demera. I don't know much about my music. I don't know much about Miko. Hell no, you did not just turn my shit off. You just sat there and said you want to change the goddamn music. Just turn my shit off like that. Okay, I guess we'll listen to some depressing shit for a little bit. Curry says I could see Sunny sleeping with Victoria Kyrie's. Kyrie's, if you're gonna sit there and say her name, you pronounce her name with some respect. Okay, Kyrie's. Her name is Victoria Epping Newman. Victoria Newman. Tommy says the Abby versus the Newmans. Newmans. Kyrie's, like I said, you pronounce her name with some respect. Okay? It's Victoria Newman. What's the matter with you? Gorgeous Queen Jenny, who else is upset that Tucker is leaving? You know, it's actually really crazy. Everyone found this shit out before me, but yes. Kyrie says, I would never respect Wichita ever and the broom she rode in on. You know, Kyrie, because you're so lovable, I'm going to sit there and let that slide. Because you're so lovable, I'm going to let that slide. But what's your respect in that chick's name? What's your respect on her name? Tommy says, Kyle and Claire should date. Oh, it's going to happen, Tommy. It's going to happen. I love how you blamed me for this shit. GC says, I hate coming in this chat. I want to be surprised Tucker was coming crying. I'm leaving. That's right, DC. Blame me for that. Johnson says that's right. Which Toria? Johnson, you put some respect on that fine woman's name. Not with y'all. Ed says Dorian Lloyd versus Erica Kane. I don't really know much about her name. DeSanta says Tucker told Abby and Jack about Ashley. They brushed it off. That's true. That's thank you, LaShanta. I think Kyrie's or Cynthia talking about that. Um, uh, let me take a bigger sip before I read this. DC says, and I'm about to correct him. DC says, as CEO, you set the tone, LOL. But then again, you're not the CEO, the real CEO. She's not here currently. You know what? I'm gonna let you get away with that. I'm gonna let you get away with that. let you get away with that. I don't even actually have a rebuttal for that. I mean, I do, but I'm gonna let you get away with that. Johnson says Erica Kane versus Sammy Brady. Damn. I don't know much about Erica Kane, unfortunately. Now, Kyrie says, Cyrus, or Constantine. My money is on Yeah, my money is on Cyrus, too. Antoinette says, why keep Cole? He's boring. Um, Now, DC says, Aubrey, you don't know about Erica Kane. Why is that? Because I didn't watch all my children. I didn't give all my children a fair shot. That's why I didn't give her a fair shot. And DC, to be fair, I almost didn't give General Hospital a fair shot. It took me 2 weeks because I stopped watching it halfway through, and it took me another week. And I only watched General Hospital because I really love Port Charles. Tommy says, oh, Ed says, Natalie Buchanan or Sammy Brady. And Tommy says, Adam Newman versus Kyle Abbott. Oh, Adam Newman all day. Adam Newman all effing day. Samuel says all Victor Newman would have to do is change Sonny's pills and this game over. Victor wins. That's true. DC says so you didn't watch For My Children just like you didn't watch Right to Live and give it a fair shot. I actually told you that's not true. That actually you see you're gonna stop spreading lies and fallacies. Okay? So for DC's information, I'm gonna set the goddamn record straight. Oh, let me take a sip. One Life to Live was my first soap opera. So in a way, it was my first gateway D. Okay? I didn't get One Life to Live canceled. I just stopped watching because of a bad breakup. And if you remember, I'll sit there and tell you about it. Um, but yeah. So yeah, One Life to Live was the first soap opera I started watching. I don't know why DC keeps spreading these goddamn lies and fallacies. But you know what? Ron likes to have his little. If Ron's in the chat, Ron, are you in the chat? Is you ass in the chat still? Tommy says Adam Newman or Victor Newman. Are you serious? Tommy, I'm tipsy and even I know the answer to that. Lisa says Victor Newman and Rich Forrester in business. Yeah, I was. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Darby, for answering that. Lashonda, which Jack are we talking about? Jack Abbott or Jack Deborah? Days Jack or uh Antoinette says no one knows. No, the stories ends. No, the stories end because of snow is like a bachelor. Carice, I want to ask you a question, Carice. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Oh, Antoinette says, to be honest, all my children was very boring. Very boring. Lisa says, what about Erica Forster? And Johnson says, Victor Kiriakis or Edward Quarterman. Yeah, what is the chat? Who won that one? Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't around for both of their glory days. Oh, you mean with the hey, let Brooke sit there and be in charge in some sort of way. Yeah, he did actually blindside what you call it. Kevin, what's good? What's good, Kevin? And what's good, Spencer? Spencer says they destroy Sam as a character, so tired of Sam BS. Oh my God, Kevin Monaco, great actor, but honestly, I feel like the Sam character has ran its course. Yeah, that's true. I did a video talking about how. Okay, to be fair, Kyrie, this isn't a serious question. But what would you think of Nicki Newman dancing to the thong song? What'd you think of that? Would that be hot? Hmm? Would that be sexy? Would that turn you on? That's wrong. Like I said, it's not a serious question. Why is this so loud? Jesus. Ed says Phyllis Summers or Carly Spencer. I actually have one question, and he's like, I'm out. God damn it, Kyrie. I think Kyrie is actually going to be live streaming tonight. If I'm not too tipsy, I want to trolling at his stream. Don't worry, I'm gonna ask him that question in his chat as well. He didn't get away from my goddamn question. Have a good night, Kyrie. Justin says Phyllis Summers Sammy Sammy Brady. Kevin says I heard Spencer versus Forrester just well versus RJ. Tommy says Nikki Newman versus Diane Abbott. Ooh, who won that one? And DC says, "Oh, you work at a you work at one. Gotcha. Now you're not going back for the fall." And Solomon says, "With all caps, Diane." I'll take your word for that. Darby says, "Albert, you tried to pull a scary thought into Kyrie's head, and it's terrifying him." But don't worry, Darby. If I'm not too tipsy, I'm gonna sit there and ask him that question. Oh, my bad, Samuel. My bad. Have a good night, DC. It was great to see you. Hope I get to see you on the weekend. Darby, well, that's the thing, Darby. I want to sit there and ask him a question. Then he just said, "All right, okay, I'm out. Have a good night." I'm like, bro, that's my goddamn question before you leave. I think I reached his live stream today. Let me sit there and check. Samuel says, "Have fun on your date." I'm one of those things. I have fun. Okay, so yeah, he is streaming today. Have a good night, DC. It's really good to see you. And have a good night, Solomon. He'll be in Kyrie's live stream, which I fully endorse. I think there's actually a couple of people that I will sit there and endorse. Kyrie's, DC. Have a good night, Samuel. It was great to see you again. Samuel, like I said, anytime you want to sit there and come through the live stream, you are more than welcome, my friend. Should have said that earlier. But you're more than welcome to come through. The Shanta says Hope wants a fashion show. On what budget? Her line isn't even really doing too well. She's talking about how she wants a fashion show. I'm like, whoa, your numbers don't support a fashion show. What the hell are you talking about? DC says, DC says not endorsed is giving Drew Kane but deny Pharrell. Seriously, there's certain people I will sit and endorse. And I would endorse James. Me and him have a different way of going about it, but he's always supported me. So I gotta support him as well. You know. So, yeah. Yeah, I guess I do. And definitely Dion's corner. Dion's corner, GH, friendly talker. I like your channel. I subscribe to your channel. I actually saved a couple of your videos. So I'm liking your channel. DC says Albert and James is giving Victor and Jack Abbott. Listen, DC, I give James his props. I give James his props. He does go out. He supports a lot of people. Um, I gotta sit there and show love to him as well. Yeah, friendly talk. Yeah, I actually saved a lot of them on my phone. So I subscribe to your channel. Of course, listen, it's all love. You gotta sit there and support each other. And I actually try to be friendly. I think it's always brave when I see anybody make a YouTube channel. Oh, okay, turn around was way too much. This was a light coming out that end. Kevin says Hope should change career. She should work. So Kevin says that Hope should change career. She should work at Deacon Restaurant. I don't know why, but that's of course friendly. Ask away. Kind of tipsy now, but actually tell you the truth, that's actually good because I'll be more honest. So what's the question? Not saying I'm not honest when I'm sober, but friendly says, does anyone remember another world? Yeah, people do. People do remember another world. We don't talk about it as much, but people do remember it though. Antoinette says Dorian versus Brooke. And Lisa says Nikki Newman versus Erica Kane. Yeah, we do talk about another world though. I still can't believe Kyrie's actually left because I brung the idea of Nikki Newman in a goddamn thong song. And he didn't even sit there and say goodbye. He's just like, I'm out. I know you're not out. I'm gonna sit there and troll. I'm gonna sit there and troll you in your damn stream. Oh, you think you are just leaving my stream like that? Sasha says Sheila was saying if Deacon was going to tell him about her. Yes, Lashanti, she was fishing hard. She was fishing hard, which is like, oh, you was eavesdropping on a private conversation. And now Deacon gotta sit there and worry about your dumb ass because you starting this whole issue with I can't believe I can't sit there and see Finn because of Steffi. Sweetheart, you got three other kids. What are you doing? Letitia, good evening. How are you doing? Hope you're well. And Crystal says I knew Tucker was faking and Steffi needs to get over herself. You're right on both fronts. I said the same thing. Oh, okay. I guess I'm getting my I shouldn't say that. I'm not gonna say that. You know, Crystal, the fact that Steffi cannot put business ahead of personal, that's a problem right there. That is a problem right there. That's a problem right there. You're supposed to be rah, 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 all about the company. I don't want to work with Brooke Logan. Are you 12? Okay, so put on your big girl pants and woman up. I guess so, Krista. I guess so. Um, I don't even know what to think about that. Kevin says I heard Hope speaks with Finn and Thomas tries to kill him. Oh, what site is this on? Kevin, where's your source at? Where'd you hear this from? Huh. Where'd you hear this from, Kevin? What I have a feeling is by one of those sites where they speak somewhat broken English and you can't understand what they're saying. And why is there something in my goddamn eye? Friendly says, "I think you and your chat are awesome." Thank you, Friendly. I think your channel is pretty awesome too. Because I always give props to people that um create a YouTube channel. All right, I'll be back. I'll be right back. Because it shows a certain level of bravery. And what's good, Jane? All right, I'll be right back. Now, Friendly says, does anyone watches Turkish nighttime soaps? No, but that sounds interesting as hell, though. Hmm. Turkish nighttime soaps. Okay, that's interesting. Krista says Sam should go. Sam should have gone to. I don't know, Jonathan. I feel like Tucker really did a good job as. I mean, I think that Trevor did a good job as Tucker, and I feel like if you just recast that's kind of like putting a middle finger in the fans' faces. Which, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know if Young and Restless would just be that callous to do that. Krista said Sam should have gone to Elizabeth, who was actually understanding her point of view and maybe given her some advice, since she's been there, done that. Very good point. Yeah, I don't see that out the Tommy. Ed says, what do you think of Jason and Anna Saints today? Interesting. There's a certain level of naivete with Anna, saying that, well, Valentine still loves me, so he's not going to sit there and send me to prison. You don't even know that. What are you talking about? And Jason's devotion towards Carly, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I'm going to protect Carly. So if it comes down to it, um, I'm going after Valentine. Jane says Sam has a lot of nerve going to Carly to keep Jason and Danny apart. Yeah, she's a pot person. She's a goddamn pot person. Friendly says Wynard is my favorite. You know, Wynard has a lot of good potential. As much as I love GH, Wynard can actually bring it at times, which is so not like me to say, but Wynard can bring it. They have the characters, they have the stories, yeah, most of the times they have the stories. Johnson says, remember, he wasn't the first Tucker Steve from days. Yes, that's very true. That's actually, yeah. And the dad from Boy Meets what? You know, Jonathan, I'm actually old enough to remember Boy Meets World. Tommy says there's only one reason Tucker couldn't be the man on the show, and that's because Victor's the man. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's kind of like Sunny, right, Darby? Or Maurice Bernard. Don't hate me, Maurice Bernard. I just if you're watching this, Maurice Bernard, don't hate me. But this going back to what Darby's saying. You got a point, Darby. Krista said Trevor did say in his X-Men Tucker comes and yes, that's very true. Krista, he over the years seemed like he has come and gone. So yes, it's actually very true. But I gotta sit there and you know what? Krista, since we're on the subject, do y'all, for the YNR fans, think that there's more story to be told for Tucker? Or do you think that this is kind of the end for now? You feel like they just kind of hit a wall and they're just like, you know what? We're going to just rest Tucker for a little bit and then we'll bring him back later on. Or do you think that there's more story to be told? Jane, how you doing tonight, Jane? Jane says Tucker has no reason to stick around Geno City. He's lost everything. Tommy says he's got a Don. Oh, he's got a son and grandson. Okay. You think that's enough to sit there and stick around for the canvas though? Tommy says there's more story. Okay, so yes, let me know if there's more story for Tucker or has he reached the end of his line? No, Darby was actually the only person that noticed I was eating something totally different other than ramen noodles. Darby says the list on wine art is Victor's number one, Jack's number two, and then Tucker can be number three or fourth in the line for the crowd. That's for the crowd, yes. Johnson says for now, Tucker doesn't have much for him. Devon is still pretty distant from him, and everyone else in town can't really stand him. Okay, so Jonathan's like he's reached the end of his line for now. And Tommy says that they have more story. I'm very curious for the Weinar fans. What are y'all thinking? Hmm. Tommy says yes, Devon can be more nice to his dad. Of course he can, and let him be around his grandson. Yeah, he could. If he wasn't such a um, what do you call Devon in the chat? Kentucky doesn't have to stay long. Doesn't have to stay gone for long. Yes, sir. Mm, okay, let it perfectly time. Jordy says, I don't like that Eric. I don't like that Jack's arrogant and scorn Tucker warning against again today. Typical Jack ass behavior. Yeah, it was unnecessary. It really was. He knew the score. He knew the deal with Tucker. Actually, talked to Darby. Even Tracy Abbott was more nicer to him than Jack. And that's the sad thing is I actually like Jack, but that dude can really be a jackass. That's right, Crystal. The Mac is back. I still got to watch that 2020 interview or that um ABC interview. And Johnson says, and Jagger and John thinks that Anna is running Pikeman. Yeah, that's kind of weird. By the way, Jonathan, I just refuse to call him Jack. Yeah, Lisa says I would have liked if Tucker and Jack worked together to bring down Victor. That Lisa, that would have been an awesome story. That would have been an awesome story. I like that story as well. Johnson says hashtag that damn Jagger. And Lisa says Jagger is clueless, so that means what he has on Carly could be fake. Interesting theory. Jane says, is Sam really going to tell Carly the truth of why Jason didn't come back to Port Charles? Like he stayed away to protect Carly? Here's the thing, Jane. If she finds out, she's going to be more pissed. She's going to be too busy being pissed for Jason. I'm going to be honest, Jane. She's going to be too busy being pissed for Jason. And unfortunately, her Karen ass is actually going to have a point. Jason stayed away to protect Carly. Okay? Not he had a family, he had kids, but Carly meant more to him than Jake and Danny. And that's pretty messed up. And I like Jason, but god damn, you're definitely not winning Father of the Year. Rashanta says, I don't trust Kate. Well, yeah. Just actually get so heavy. Tommy said, who's more ruthless, Jack or Victor? Come on, Tommy, Victor all day. I haven't even watched the show that long, and I know that Victor is way more ruthless, Tommy. Come on, you know the answer to that. Ask a more challenging question than that. Even a newbie like me would know that. Johnson says Sonny is going to bond with Natalie again tomorrow. Oh, Jonathan, when Sonny finds out that Natalia is a homophobic POS, is going to make the confrontation much more sweeter. Oh yeah, Tommy, of course. Tommy, I feel like Jack is like Mr. Rogers compared to Victor. That's true, Jonathan. Not, I don't even know the history, and I know that Stefano is more ruthless than Victor. That's right, Darby. I don't know if that's a level of common sense or Darby says I trust John's stupidity. See, that's the thing. I can't call him Jagger. I can't call him Jagger because they didn't even make. Here's the thing. They didn't even make the the new Jagger look like old Jagger. Okay, and although it doesn't affect me, I know it affects the old school people that have been watching the show for a long time. When you look at Jagger and you look at this John, you're like, did the casting department just put a middle finger to every single fan? Johnson says the only John on GH I like is John McBain. Yes, I get that. That makes sense. Friendly, Friendly Talker said, Jack, didn't Victor lock someone in a cage? Yes, probably twice. The most recent one is some woman named Jordan. Yep, Tommy, he did. The recent the recent person was this chick named Jordan that wanted to kill his whole family. Before then, that's a damn good question. Dobby says Jagger is a teenager name and he's more old enough to be old enough to have grandkids. Yes, but yeah, pretty much friendly a million years ago. Oh, come on, Darby. We know the reason why we ain't calling him Jagger. It's not because he was is a teenager's name. It's because he looks nothing like the original Jagger, and they didn't even bother to try. It's like the casting department just said, "Fuck it." Damn, I am swearing a lot. Oof. Does everyone like my drink? Tracy says, "Does anyone remember Jagger from GH?" Does anyone remember Jagger from GH? That is the question. I only remember him from the clips that I saw. Lakeisha, what's good, love? Tommy says, "Sorry guys, Victor is more ruthless than Jack." Oh, of course. Jack is like Mr. Rogers compared to um, Victor. Blackmon says, "Yes." Christian says the Good Morning interview was excellent. That's the one with the guy who plays Mac, right? I wasn't on the ad, but I saw a clip stuff. If you go back, you see clips. You understand. Darby, old school Jack is an asshole. I say this again. Old school Jack Abbott, the one that threw a chair when Victor walked into the room. Old school Jack is an asshole. Jonathan, what about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Is it on tonight? Krista says, I think Eric Braden has in his contract that Victor can never go down. It wouldn't surprise me, Krista. I've seen stuff from The Rock um, that he can't lose a fight. Okay, Dwayne Johnson put in his contract that he can't lose a fight. Johnson says, "No, I'm serious. Asking who wants to be a millionaire." I don't, Jonathan. Maybe I'm a little tipsy, but what does that mean? No, I'm serious. Who wants to be a millionaire? Oh, no, W. I just want to know what Jonathan's question was. Though Tommy says, "How old is Victor Newman?" Well, I think you got to probably Google how old is Eric Braden. Then you can kind of Wendy. Wendy says, "Do you want to be a millionaire?" Eh, yeah. Um, but I have deplorable reasons of why I want to be a millionaire. Lashanta says, "Monaco ear was cut. Marco ear was cut off by Victor." Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. So Krista, Lakeisha, and Tommy says that Victor should be around 80. What company? What would you name your company? Jonathan, you asked me what would I name my company? Um, Plastic Enterprises. And I'm not joking about that. Jonathan, I'm being dead ass serious to be Plastic Enterprises. W says nothing too deplorable for that reason. But yeah, Shotgun, that's why I would sit there and name my company. Plastic Enterprises. Yeah, so that's and how are you doing tonight, Wendy? It's good to actually have you. And she is not worth watching anymore. But unfortunately, because I actually do this as a job, I kind of have to sit there and watch her. Tommy says Eric Braden says he'll never retire. Of course not. The money's too good. The money's too good. Tracy says, "What are the reasons you won't? What are the reasons you won't be a millionaire?" Well, there's a lot of reasons why I won't be a millionaire. I think you could be a millionaire. You know, Tracy, I think I could too. And I'm not actually just saying that because I'm tipsy. I'm actually being dead serious. Johnson says Samantha Karen isn't worth watching anymore. I don't know what they. I don't know. I don't know what this scene was. General Hospital has been confusing me for a hot minute. They won a bunch of awards, the accolades that is very questionable. They totally forgot that Sam was rah 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 on Team Jason. Okay. And now we're just like, she, I can't believe this idiot actually said that she had a baby with Jason because she was in love with him. Like, that's an excuse. I am trying to cut down on the swearing, but Sam's character has just been like, have a good night, Krista. I think the writers have been drinking. Hey, General Hospital writers, have y'all been drinking this? Is this the reason why we got to sit there and see this fuck-tarded version of Sam today? Tommy says Peter Bergman is 71. Jesus Christ. That's awesome. Lakeisha says the jacket recast doesn't bother me as well since I was a tiny kid when the original character was on the show. You know, Lakeisha, I feel like you're younger than me. I'm not gonna ask you how old you are, but I feel like you're younger than me. Especially since you said that you're a tiny kid. As said, Jace don't know what to do with Sam. And let me tell you something. Jace didn't know what to do with Sam's character when he put her with Patrick Drake. Darby says, Albert, how is Sam a detective? When she dresses like a supermodel, help make help me make sense of that. I would see her coming a mile away. Darby, we got Days of Our Lives Sloan that's dressed like a model. I don't want to sit there and say Victoria's Secret model, but she's dressed like a model. And yet she's hanging out with Brady, with with Eric Brady. She's hanging out with a goddamn bum that she makes 10 times as much money, and she wanted to keep hold of Eric Brady. How about you make that make sense? I mean, let's be honest, Ed. It's true. The kitchen says Big Cat was born in the '90s. Oh yeah, Lakeisha, you're definitely younger than me. You are definitely younger than me, Lol. Darby says you choose either Sam or Sloan. Okay, Darby, if we're putting it as far as what I have sex with, I'm gonna sit there and say Sam. But I would choose Sloan to actually sit there and be married to. Sam, I would have sex with. Sloan, I would be married to because Sloan is down for the cause. Okay, Sloan would sit there and well, she'll marry a bum. So Darby, why what? Tommy says Audra or Summer. In what way? Summer, I would go out with. Audra, I would have sex with. Tommy says, which one would you have sex with? Oh, Tommy, that's an easy question. Audra. Darby says, why Sloan? Um, Sloan is down for the cause. Sloan will go broke if she loves you. Sam wouldn't do that. Sam wouldn't actually do that. So I would go with Sloan. The shot that says, I told you. You told me what? What'd you tell me? I'm kind of tipsy right now. What'd you tell me? Ed says Jay should have focused on making Sam a standalone character before they recast Jason before they made him Drew. Krista says before I go, Sam concerned or 13 years too late. Yes. Yes, Krista, yes, love, yes. Tommy said, which one would you marry? Phyllis or Sharon? Oof. You know, Tommy, I'm gonna go with Phyllis. She seems more fun. I'm gonna go with Phyllis, Tommy. And yes, that's actually very true, Krista. It's actually good to see you tonight. You know, Ed, it makes sense. No, Darby. You don't have a choice. You gotta marry, you gotta sit there and be one person. Phyllis or Sharon. Who are you picking? You don't have a choice. I don't understand why you think this is a choice. It's not a choice. Darby, who are you picking? Have a good night, LaShanta. I'll see you in Kyrie's stream where I'm gonna troll. So Darby, who's your choice? Phyllis or Sharon? We're not gonna pivot from this until you answer my question. Tommy says, yeah, I would go with Phyllis, Tommy, because she just seems more fun. By more fun, I mean more fun in the bedroom. And also, she plays games. She plays video games. So if I get a gamer check, it actually seems like she's fun. I'm gonna go with Phyllis. Happy night, Lord B. It was really good to see you. Take care of yourself. You know, Darby. You know what I'm not actually saying? I'm not saying an answer. What would your answer be? Phyllis or Sharon? Tracy, I'm not letting this go. I'm not pivoting from this. Darby's going to answer my question. Who are you picking, Sharon or Phyllis? Tell me, I'm not letting go of this question. I'm going to answer it. He's going to give me an answer. Nope, sorry, Darby. That's not gonna work. And the no comment doesn't work for me. Pick one. I don't care if it's eeny, meeny, money, ball. Pick one. I want peace in my life. Nope, Darby. As a man, you don't get peace. Sorry. Try again. As men of the joystick club, we don't have peace. That's not an option. Pick a woman. Yeah, he thinks I'm joking. I'm not joking. I'm being dead ass serious. You gotta pick an answer. You gotta pick a. You gotta pick one. Okay. Darby, which answer you got? Which one you going with? You going with Phyllis or you going with Sharon? I don't think that's really a hard question. Just pick a door. Why is that a hard question for Sharon? Good. There we go. There we go. Okay, Darby, we're going with blind. Yeah, thank you, Tommy. I'm like, why is this such a goddamn Jeopardy question? Oh, by the way, in chat, I'm about to sit there and troll Kyrie's. Um, Thank you, Tommy, because I was not. I want to see what Kyrie's answer is. I just asked about Nicki Newman and the thong. Better not sit there and skip my goddamn comment. Tommy, I would sit there and pick Phyllis. Uh, okay, that was funny. That was worth it. But no, I would pick Phyllis. Phyllis is fun. I mean, Phyllis can be annoying. Here's the thing. Tommy says I would never pick Lily. No, Lily is too much. Lily is too much. Why is Lily too much? Tell me, Tommy. I haven't watched You and the Restless as long as you probably. My only gripe with Lily is this lawsuit. Johnson says Sam used to be a badass woman back in the day, but but they watered her down so much to the point that she became a freaking Karen. Preaching, my guy, preaches, and he's actually right about that. Darby says Lily is bland and fake as hell. Okay? See, that's the thing, Darby. Maybe they're trying to do this whole stupid lawsuit because she's as bland as you're saying, right? She's as bland as you're saying, so maybe they're trying to do this lawsuit. That's why, seriously, that's why people are sitting there saying, "Yeah, I'm with Lily. I'm Team Lily." I was like, um, I know y'all want some Ash's character, and if that's the only way to sit there and get it, then that's pretty sad. Tommy says Lily is thinking with her emotions and getting mad and petty. Yes, that's very true. Tommy says I'm Team Daniel, but that's kind of like Snitcher saying that you're Team Scumbag. But yes, I will be Team Daniel versus Lily because at the end of the day, it starts at the top. Lily is the boss. You chose to have a relationship, an inappropriate relationship with your underling. Okay. Honestly, Jonathan, this is another one of the reasons why Jonathan's my guy. I actually agree. And that's the thing, Jonathan. Even though Jack brought absolutely nothing to the table today, except for being a hurt dad. Um, he brought nothing to the table. Let's just be real. It was actually really good to see Jack. I don't know why I actually like Jack so much. But I do. But he brought nothing to the table. But it was good to see though. Oh, okay, I'm a little busy. Tommy says I'm not agreeing with the cheating. I just don't think he should have. No, no, no. I agree with that, Tommy. I've been sitting there saying that for a hot minute. Listen, it's wrong what he did. It's a scumbag thing what he did. But at the end of the day, him and Heather did that during their off time. Okay. What Lily's doing is not just inappropriate, but it's unprofessional. Okay. Daniel is really good at the gaming department. He does have a point, Darby. He has a very excellent point because at the end of the day, listen, from a gamer that plays online games, and I gotta find out that the developer of that game got outed and pushed it aside because of some stupid BS that happened during office politics. Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off. Okay. Um, and what was our reason for firing him? Office morale. Office morale. So literally, you just pulled that out of your nice cushy ass, right? Is that it? You just pulled that out of your ass. Office morale. No, sweetheart. What he did was fine. It was messed up, and he's a scumbag just like Danny. Kyrie's is my boy, but Danny is a scumbag, just like his son apparently. Okay, so Darby says it's endangering the business. No, it's endangering her female fragile ego is what it's endangering. It's endangering her ego. Listen, don't get it twisted. Lily's not a bad looking chick. Okay, she ain't a bad looking chick. Uh, Heather does look like a '90s porn star. Let's be honest. Darby says Lily should have chalked it up to lesson learned and move on. Yes. Well, Darby, let me ask you a question. Yeah, I mean, I hate that they're putting these scenarios in there. It's wrong what she did. But Darby, you think they're telling me that you wouldn't sat there and fire somebody who cheated on you? I mean, seriously, Darby, you wouldn't fire somebody that cheated on you. I'm not giving Lily a pass. I still think what she did was just stupid and inappropriate and unprofessional. But Darby, you think they're telling me that you wouldn't sat there and fire somebody who cheated on you? I need an answer, Darby. Tommy says if he did sleep in the office, it would be different and not good. Then, yeah, well, yeah, of course. And Lily and Devon like to think with their emotions. That's true, Tommy. But uh, I hate that they're giving this. Darby says not when my money's on the line. Hmm, touche, Darby. Touche. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to sit there and argue with Darby on it, but I do like money, so he actually has a very good point. Lakeisha says Lily should have stayed her butt with Kane. What happened with that storyline with Kane? Why is she not with Kane? Darby says I wouldn't have fired her or him for that reason. That's true, Darby. That's true. You know, the sad thing is, Darby, I can't even sit there and argue with that. Very good point, Darby. Very good point. Very good, astute point. How many times I deal with them? I deal with them with the office or let them work at home. That's true, Tommy. Darby has a good point. At the end of the day, yeah, that's true. Lakeisha said, why not ruin their love story? How do they ruin their love story, Lakeisha? Um, Tommy says Lily needs to date Nick. Tommy, wasn't it supposed to be a story with Elena dating Nick? What happened with that? L- Lisa says Lily got involved with Dan before she hired him. Yeah, that's true, Lisa, but when she did hire him, she should have ended her relationship. She should have ended her relationship. Let's just be clear about that. She should have ended her relationship because that's inappropriate right there. Tommy says I think Lily was too young for Lily, and I think Crane. I think Kane was too young for Lily in the beginning. Really? Huh. Debbie says, with all the mistakes and embarrassments that happen in our lives, normally I would have to let it go, let go like water off a. I don't. You know, Darby. Part of me is like, I like money, but I do like being petty. I don't know. I don't know, Darby. I don't know if I could just let go of that shit that easily. I don't know if I could just let that go that easily. Tommy says Devon and Abby still work together and they are actually still dating. Yeah, but that's a little bit different, though, because neither one of them cheated on the other. That's a little bit different, Tommy. Now, not neither one of them actually cheated on each other. So, oh, by the way, Chad, just if y'all are wondering, I did sit there and troll Kyrie's. Since he wants to sit there and be a goddamn troll in my stream, in my stream, I just trolled him. Darby says, change the subject cover. Do you realize that Abby still doesn't know about her mother? Yes, and that's actually true. She doesn't know about her mother, which is insane to me. Um, but to be fair, she kind of brushed it off when Tucker wasn't there talking. So when she finds out, she's gonna be upset with herself, and she's not gonna sit there and give Tucker the. She's not gonna sit there and actually. She's not actually gonna sit there and give Tucker any credit for sitting there telling the truth. That's actually very true, Dory. Dog, no. Mini bikini or a thong. Tommy says, Tommy, oh, tomorrow she will. No, sorry, Phil. Tommy says, I will be pissed. And Tommy says, I will be pissed. What's the question I asked? Do you realize Abby is. Sorry, Chad. I had to sit there and troll Kyrie for a hot minute since he loves trolling me with some of the questionable questions that he asked me. But see, that's the thing, Darby. No, nobody told her, but Tucker told her. Tucker was like, "You need to sit there and check on your mom." And Abby acted very witchy towards Tucker. So in all reality, well, to be fair, Jack and Tracy should have told her. So if she gets upset with anybody, she should be upset with Jack and Tracy. Because Jack and Tracy did sit there and tell her ass. Now, Tommy says yeah, exactly. Tucker told her she didn't listen. But to be fair, Tommy, Jack and Tracy knew, and Billy, who also works for her, knew about the DID. And Billy didn't sit there and say anything either. So if we're going to be honest, if we're going to sit there and just go across the goddamn board, then yes. Tommy says they did now. Yeah, they did. And they didn't say a damn thing. Well, let me ask you a question, Tommy, and let me ask you a question, Chad. Are y'all saddened for Abby not knowing about Ashley's condition? Or do y'all just simply not really give a damn? Lakeisha said, I can't remember the final moments, but I think Lily cheated first. Then Kane got someone pregnant from a drunk one night stand. I think they were still together after she went to prison. Oh, wow. Damn. I'm not going to lie, Lakeisha. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like a better story than what we're getting now. But Lily ended their marriage after she left prison. I'm not gonna lie, Lakeisha. I'm not gonna lie, Lakeisha. That sounds like a way better story than what we're getting. Lakeisha, how long you been watching The Young and the Restless for? Toby says it's not her fault she didn't keep tabs on her mother's condition. No, it's not. It's not, Darby. Darby says Abby acted witchy with Tucker, and as usual, Devon clam on her side against him. Yes, it's not her fault she didn't keep tabs on her mom. Vacation I've been watching on and off since 2006. God damn, that's a long time. That is a long time. Vacation, listen, every time you come in this chat and I need info, I'm coming to you for answers. So if you know anything at 2000, then I'm gonna sit there and come towards you. Darby says it is her fault, Albert. Oh, Abby's fault? Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I'm actually pretty sad that this is not full. That this is all the way down there to the goddamn end. What a shame. Tommy says it's a missed storyline for Abby. It is. But you know, Tommy, it's Josh Griffin that's doing it and it's Brad Bell that's actually running the show. So that's just the sad thing is that I feel like the YNR fans definitely do gotta sit there and hold on for dear life with these with this show. With this show. Lakeisha and my mom and grandmother allowed us to start watching the stories, as they called it, LOL, when I was a preteen. See, Lakeisha, I started watching Born Like to Live 2019. 2019, I started watching the show. And then I got into Port Charles and eventually General Hospital. General Hospital in the year 2000. So in some ways, I can't sit there and say I'm actually a baby anymore. I've been watching the show for 20 some years. Oof. Tommy says not. Abby is mad now. What is Abby mad about? What does Abby actually have to be upset about? What is she actually upset about? Oh, they didn't tell her about mom. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. They did. They did, Tommy. And you know, it's weird because she has this whole I'm an Abbott and I'm a Newman, and she's either constantly trying to stay out of their drama out of both, or they're leaving her out of both. Lakeisha said, I have a hate love relationship with Passions, LOL. It wasn't even the mystical stuff. The storyline was dragging worse than the current Damn. You know, Lakeisha, you know, the inside joke of the chat is that Ron blamed me for getting Passions canceled. I don't know if you know about that joke, but Ron blames me for getting Passions canceled. So, Lakeisha, if you're upset that Passions got canceled, apparently it's because of me. I'm just that good. I have that much power. You know, Tommy, they left her in the dark about Jordan. Oh, look at, oh, you do remember that. Okay, all right. I just, I'm pretty sure you probably saw the message from Ron, which is not in the chat. Darby says, how old was you when Passions was on? Damn, that's a really good question. I'll tell you this much though, Darby, because I don't remember, but I started watching One Life to Live when I was a singer. When I was in high school, I started watching One Life to Live in General Hospital. So I think I was like, it was before I was 20. It was before I was 20 when I started watching One Life to Live. So we'll go with that. That's a really good question. 'Cause I have no idea how old I was when Passions was on. I have zero, you know, part of me is like tomorrow when I go back and I look at the replay, see my ass munch on these wise potato chips. It's gonna be funny. Tracy says Passions 1999, 2007, and 2008. Yeah, I was kind of out the loop. And it's funny too because they had Guiding Light on, and there was a point where I wanted to try to watch Guiding Light, and people were snitching telling me that Guiding Light got canceled, that it was off the air. And for me, because I live in New York, Guiding Light would come on at 10 o'clock, which is really early for a soap opera. For me, the soap operas didn't start till like 12, 12:30. Darby says, how old were you at 20? Darby, I couldn't answer that question if I was sober. Um, Jesus Christ, how old was I? I think I was still in my teens. I was I was younger than 20. I think I was younger than 20. Yeah, I think I was younger than 20. Yeah, I think. Darby's not to ask me math questions when I'm like halfway done with this goddamn bottle. Darby starts to start asking me some goddamn math questions. Darby, how old was you in 2007 or 2008? Darby says you were a powerful teenager. Well, I was an interesting teenager. I'll say that much. I was an interesting teenager. I wasn't just gonna say powerful. I was interesting. God damn. Passions. Supernatural creatures. Ron Snitch talked about some character named Dora having a baby when she's like 60 something years old. Because, he just can't let that go. Hmm. Darby, I got something else to say to you, too. Why is it so difficult to sit up like that? Darby, thank you for sticking around. Usually at 10, you kind of dip out and go to Kyrie's live stream, so I appreciate you still being here. Tracy says, I used to watch Passion sometimes, but I don't remember it much. Hmm. See, I still remember One Life to Live. I remember a character named Sam being killed off. I remember the whole train accident. I remember Will, um, Jess, and some other character just walking off while Bo Buchanan, who was the commissioner at the time, saw them just walk off and didn't do anything to sit there and try to stop them. And I remember Nora being in the bed. Yes, exactly, being in the bed by Colin McGeiger. Or yeah, Colin. And then he had this obsession with Nora. He had this obsession with Nora. Let me just put this way in context. Nora was a 6.5, close to a 7. Okay. Colin, I like boobies. Colin was a goddamn 10. Okay, or a 9 at least. Okay, this man had this huge obsession with Nora Buchanan, who was a 10, and Nora was a 6.5, a close to a 7 at best. That's what I remember. Derby says I was 30 in 2008. Tommy says I was Tommy says I was 9 in 2008. God damn, Tommy, you are young. You're a young buck. Derby says, why Nora? Why Nora what? I have no idea. It's a woman's fantasy. That's why, Darby. It's a woman's fantasy. Darby says Nora was smart but gorgeous. She was not. He must have been nuts. Yes, that's actually about right. That's actually right, Darby. Tracy says an actor from Like to Live passed away. Lamont D. I don't know what that is, but it's sad to hear though. Tommy says I'm 25. God damn, Tommy, you are a young buck. Tommy's a young buck. Portia, yes, Lisa, I heard Portia was on Passions. Listen, Lakeisha, I gotta keep it real. Lakeisha, I will keep it real if I'm sober. I'm not drunk, but I'm just saying. Come on, Lakeisha. You take a look at Nora Buchanan and then take a look at what's that guy's name? Um what was the actor's name who played Colin? What was his name? Ty Treadway. Take a look at Ty Treadway and then take a look at Nora Buchanan. Let's just be real. Because she said I was in high school. I don't know why, but I feel like every time she sits there and says that she was in high school, it's like she reminds me of just how old I am. Thank you, Lakeisha. I appreciate that. Thank you, love. But seriously, take a look at Ty Treadway and what's her name? I forgot the actor's name, but Noah Buchanan. Tracy says, I don't know Porsche. I didn't know Porsche was on Passions. Yeah. Yeah, Tracy, she was. I learned this stuff from the chat. Some of the stuff I learned from the chat. But I don't know, that show worked though. Then you had Jen Rappaport, you had yeah, Will Rappaport, you had what was her name? Lindsay Rappaport. So despite what DC says, I was a huge One Like to Live fan. Lakeisha said, she wasn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lakeisha. She wasn't Ogmog or anything like that. But I mean, come on, let's be honest. They definitely was not squaring up. And I can sit there. Here's the thing, Lakeisha. I can sit there and say that as a straight man, they were not squaring up. Okay, the math was not math. W says, I know what you mean when someone tells you about you or your mind, they really mean, yeah, sure. That's true, Darby. See, this is why I will always defend my position when it comes to Donna Logan. That's why I will always defend my position when it comes to Donna Logan. Especially back then when people sit there and say, but Don is not smart. As men, we're not really caring if a woman is smart. We care if a woman looks good and is cooperative and not difficult. So that's true, Darby. But I'm just not just saying, yes, Nora was a very smart, savvy woman, and she was good for Bo Buchanan. She was not good for Colin or Troy or whatever iteration that they want to sit there and bring back Pirate Treadway. We're just gonna be completely honest about it. But Darby, she doesn't have to be the smartest woman. She doesn't have to be the smartest on the planet. She just have to have her looks. She just have to have her looks. Tommy says Lily or Audrey to marry. Ooh, Tommy, I'm gonna go with Lily. Because Audrey, here's the thing, Tommy. Audrey will sit there and bankrupt you. Audrey will sit there and ruin your world. Okay? Audrey will ruin you. Audrey will leave your life in shambles. Lily would just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave you in your little rubble. But Audrey would sit there and ruin you. So I would definitely go with Lily. Audrey, they're, they they can both be petty and vindictive, but Audrey takes it way too far. Audrey, you can't reason with her. This is the thing that has been pissing me off about Audrey. She is willing to work with a goddamn Newman just to get back at Tucker. So yeah, I would go with Lily because Audrey is as me and Kyrie says, she's extra. She's doing way too much. You are working with the devil. Which, by the way, I don't understand how 1 minute, Tucker's like, "Oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. I'm having such a problem," and then towards the end, he's like, "Okay, fine, I give up." What the Tommy says that. Yeah, well, Tommy, you're a smart man. Darby says Lily. I think Lily would actually care about you. Well, that's the thing, Darby. At the very least, even if I somehow screwed her over, she would just leave me. She would just leave me. It's Audra that wants to do the maximum amount of damage because Audra has the emotional range of a 16-year-old emotional little girl. Okay? That's the thing about Audra. Yes, Audra looks better than Lily. And yes, as a man, we can sit there and say looks do matter, but god damn, I would sit there and pick Lily. Audra, you couldn't sit there and trust. Johnson says, let's hope Tucker has a decent exit story and it doesn't just and end with what we saw today. Sure, Jonathan. Darby says, do you always screw over women? No, Darby. I mean, Darby, are you trying to sit there and say that I'm some sort of dick or something? Darby, are you trying to sit there and say that I'm a very bad person? Come on, Darby, put your feelings out on the table. How do you really feel about me? Tommy says Audrey is too power human, too power hungry to me and ruthless. I like a woman with ambitions, but I don't like a woman that I can't trust. And somebody who has very limited emotional range. He says it the condom fits. Oh, I appreciate that, Darby. So Darby, just for the chat to know, Darby thinks that DC is a more um, reputable reputable person than I am. And now he just pretty much sat there and said that, what are you saying, Darby? I'm a massive dick? Okay. All right, just checking. Lisa says, I think Cole had a twin wife live. Didn't Cole die and then they brought him back to life or something? Darby says, I says, let me correct it. Darby said, I said slightly respectable. I am only slightly respectable compared to DC. Sure. I'm only slightly. That's true. I'm sorry, Darby. I didn't want. I shouldn't have mixed up your words. Um, I'm glad we got that fixed. Tommy says you can't trust Audra and think on emotions and using guys not wanting to get married. Yeah, you know, I hate to sit there and say this, Darby. I hate to sit there and say this, Tommy. But using guys, using what you got to get what you want. Let's be honest, Tommy. In this world, men and women don't play on an even playing field. And let's put it this way, Tommy. I'm not going to sit there and get upset with a woman for saying that they're using all her advantages because it's never been an even playing field as far as men and women. Let's just be real, Tommy. How can I add? Darby says you're not a massive dick, Albert. You are slightly regular size. That's actually not true, but okay. That's actually not true, Darby. I'm actually part of the big boys club, but well, we're not gonna focus on that. Tommy says she used them like a bit. It's true, Tommy. It's true, Tommy. We're not on the even playing field. We've never been on the even playing field, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It is what it is, Tommy. So I'm not going to sit there and be upset with a woman using everything that she has to her advantage. Because honestly, tell you the truth, sometimes, Tommy, integrity, personality, smarts is not enough. And, don't get me started on a woman of color. We're not even going to go there. Lisa says Stephanie was right about Reg. Yeah, that's actually very true. He should have. Instead of blindsiding her during that meeting. He should. You're absolutely right, Lisa. But on another knock, Stephanie, you should be able to put away your you should be able to put aside your personal feelings for the company. Okay? You have a history of Brooke and it's not good. You should be able to put that aside to be all rah 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 for the company. Tommy, that's very true. That's actually very true. Rich is the original waffle. Let me ask you a question, Tommy. Let me ask you a question. Could you easily pick between Taylor and Brooke? Could you just sit there and say that you would just want to be with one person? Because Brooke's got the looks and, whatever. But Taylor has the personality and the looks. They're not exactly an easy decision to make. Yeah, that's weird, Darby. But then why are they not going to sit there and use the last actress stuff? Lisa says Tucker needs to regroup. I can't wait for Victor to kick her to the curb. I can't wait either. Tommy's Tommy says I will pick Taylor. Hmm, that's a good question. Who will I pick? Oh, come on, Tommy. Actually, I know how I would pick Rock, but I mean, Tommy. But that's the thing, though. Like they both have good qualities. I don't think it's a good idea to waffle between two women. You should sit there and just pick. Let's be honest. It's not fair to sit there and put another woman. It's not fair to sit there and do that to somebody else. Ricky said Tommy was the it girl back then, like she was a single. Okay, Lakeisha, I'm gonna have to sit there and look at some photos to sit there and confirm. I'm gonna have to confirm. Cause I'm not gonna lie, Lakeisha. To be honest, I saw old pictures of Catherine Kelly Lang. Okay, that chick is on point. That chick was on point. I'm gonna be honest, Lakeisha. I don't know about the Brooke character, but her looks back then was that chick was on point. Judy, what's good? Tommy said this be go on decade. Darby says I would have Brooke as a girlfriend. I will marry Taylor. No, Darby, I can't be upset with that comment. That actually makes sense on some level. Tommy says this be go on decade. This be go on decade. Shakrita says I will pick Taylor. Is it because of the brains? Lakeisha, just look up Hunter Taylor. Lakeisha, I will look her up. I will look her up. Actually, I will look her up. Yes, I will. I will take you up on that advice. Damn, that's actually a good point because I've only seen like really old pictures and commercials of Captain Calvary Lang. So okay, yeah, I know exactly, Tommy, and that's part of the reasons why they don't like Liam. Darby said they're both smart women and all right. That's actually very true, Darby, because Brooke did sit there and create some sort of formula towards something for foster creation, so she's not an idiot. You should, unfortunately, Hunter has some work done due to being abused by one of her exes. Beautiful face, and she was beautiful, but not as stunning. And that's, I actually tell you, the truth, Lakeisha, that sucks. Actually, tell you, the truth, no, sucks doesn't. That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. Um, I don't even have any. I don't have any good comments about that. That actually makes me a lot upset about that. Lakeisha, hopefully that person is actually suffering in jail. Johnson says, Mac. Yes, Jonathan, the Mac is back. He's back tomorrow. Tommy says, I like Liam. If I was Liam, I would pick Stephanie. Tommy, those are brave words to sit there and say. I don't know much about Liam, so I don't have as much of a hate hard on as much as other people, but some people really don't like um, Liam. Darby says people see Brooke's sexy body because she's a world class. Yes, that's true. Well, that's the thing, Darby. I think people don't want to sit there and see it because they rather slut shame her. Like you said, I would never be with a sleazy bag like Brooke. The whole Brooke and Deacon and Bridget storyline was just lowest of the low of Brooke. Yeah, I heard about that. It's Lakeisha is definitely not her finest hour. Johnson says, "Do you think Cody will finally come clean?" I hope so, Jonathan. But I'm not gonna lie, Jonathan. I feel like they're gonna stretch it out a little bit more. I do. I feel like they're gonna stretch it out a little bit more. Unfortunately. Because that's the thing, Jonathan. General Hospital won a lot of awards. They won a certain amount of awards. I know this comment's gonna bite me in the ass, and I don't care. But when you start winning certain awards, you start not caring as much. Okay? So by me saying that, they're going to sit there, and I agree with that, Jonathan. They're gonna be lazy about it. They're gonna stretch it out longer than it should. Toby says if Tommy gets with Steffi, we will have to get him. We have to get him for an intervention. Darby, who's Tommy? Who's Tommy? We're not talking about Tommy in the chat, huh, Darby? You're so tipsy. I'm not that tipsy. Lisa says Warner made it appear Tucker was ruthless, but it never came to pass, getting Chancellor Winters going against Abbas and the Newmans. Oh, is Sharon doing with Cassie? What if Tucker takes over? Well, Lisa, we don't have to worry about any of that because he's not going to be on the show apparently anymore. He said, "I'm all for people being free spirited as long as they are being safe, but sleeping around with your." Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Lakeisha, it's definitely not a good look for Brooke. I'm not into the whole slut shaming, but that's definitely not a good look. Darby says Stephanie can break a man. Well, that depends, Darby. Is that man Liam? Because if Liam, here's the thing, Darby. Liam likes taking orders from Stephanie. Okay? Darby, some men actually like that whole simplest lifestyle. So it's not true, Darby. If it's Liam, you're not going to break Liam. It's kind of wild, Darby. I mean, I can't even sit there and say she's a 9. She's an 8. I'm not buying a company for an 8. So Darby, I think that bill must have been out of his forehead. I mean, she's cute, but she's not. I heard Darby from the chat. I mean, I heard Tommy from the chat. Lakeisha said, "I'm sick of Liam. He has become so insufferable over the years." Is it because of the back and forth with Hope and Steffi, or is it because of his personality? Which one is it? I heard, I heard, Darby. That's wild to me. That's the thing, Darby. Just because you have, okay, Lakeisha says all above. Okay, that's the thing, Darby. Just because you have the money, the resources, do you really need to have 7 sons? 7 goddamn sons. I think that's too much. That is way too much, Darby. I have 7 sons. No offense to whatever his name is, Don Diamond. But 7 sons, Jesus Christ. I mean, has this man ever heard of birth control? Darby says 1 wife, 7 sons. See, well, first of all, Darby, poor wife. To go through that trauma 7 times, like Lakeisha, 7 sons. 7 goddamn sons. Tommy says I have a Corvette C8. Huh? Lakeisha says I know her uterus is exhausted. I'm not gonna lie, Lakeisha. I'm just sitting there wondering, was Don Diamond just like, come on, baby, you can handle it. We got 4 so far. We could sit there and go for a couple more. Like, I don't know. I don't know, Lakeisha. 7 sons is a lot. I mean, hell. When did 2 just become just not enough? I know I heard Darby, Josh Mauer, son's gonna. I heard he also looks like him a little bit. By the way, I heard this week is gonna be the anniversary for Josh playing Nick Newman for 30 goddamn years. Oh, yes, tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Because I kind of wanted to sit there and think about titling one of my streams about it. I'm not gonna lie, Jonathan. That is actually pretty awesome to sit there and be on a soap opera for 30 years. 30 years. That's a certain level of dedication I gotta admire. I'm like, I don't give a damn if you care or you don't care about Nick Newman, but as an actor, I give him his props. Tommy says on Friday. On Friday, what? Oh, he becomes RJ's rival on the show. Darby, I think he's going to be a little bit too young, from what I understand. Tommy says he thinks that Nick and Sharon are going to get back tomorrow. Justice is not mean. Bowen is pronounced Bow. Oh, Morrow. Josh Morrow. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jonathan. Morrow. Damn, I've really been messing up on this name. Thank you. Morrow. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm not gonna lie. I've been calling him by the wrong name for almost about 3 years. Like said, I was on a step being built reunion train, but B&B has ruined it yet again. I cannot believe I've been mispronouncing that man's name for about. Well, I've been serving for 3 years. Jesus Christ. Well, sorry, Josh Morrow, if you're watching this. I screw up on a lot of people's names. Darby says he's about 18. Oh, okay. All right. Then, okay, then that makes sense. You know what, Darby? You know what this means? That means that Kate is going to have more of a reason to act like a goddamn Karen when it comes towards Poppy. That means that Katie Logan is going to start to really be truly annoying. Listen, I don't do the whole hate train when it comes towards the Logans. Oh my god, the Logans are terrible. But like Katie has been getting on my goddamn nerves. Tommy says, I hate Katie so much. Why do you hate Katie so much? Why do you hate Katie? Tommy. Lisa says, did you notice Sandra was more honest with Maggie about Count Constantine and was like, oh, of course, Lisa, because Sarah is um judgmental like no tomorrow. Lisa, let me just put it this way. The reason why I'm not about the whole Xander and Sarah is because they never seem like a good match to me. Like, let's be honest, Lisa. Xander and Gwen seem more of a good pairing because Sarah is very judgmental. And if you don't walk that line the way that Sarah tells you to walk that line, then you are a bad, evil. Thank you, Darby. You're a bad, evil, and judgmental woman. Johnson says who's going to be a teenager. Jonathan. You know what I'm hoping for? You know what I'm hoping for? That they actually make Will an interesting character. Jonathan, do you think they're going to make Will an interesting character in your experience of watching soap operas? Lakeisha, I never liked Katie, but I love her performance when she found out about Bill and Brooks' affair. Jonathan says, ooh, Jonathan has some high hopes. I like you, Jonathan. I'm a I'm gonna pour all my positive energy into you because Jonathan, I want you to have that positive energy for both of us. I'm not even joking. I know I'm a little tipsy, but I'm not even joking. I really want you to have that pot because he actually says they might. That is way more than I was going to sit there and give them. Darby says Sarah was raised very sheltered and judgmental. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can see that. I just, Darby, I don't understand the appeal with Xander and I don't understand the appeal of Xander and Sarah. But Jonathan, I'm counting on you. Tommy says Katie's do too much and selfish and date Bill's son. At one point now she want what she dated Will's son. She dated Bill's son. Oh, that's just nasty. I'm sorry, Tommy. She dated Bill's son? Tommy, are you serious about that? Oh my lord, she actually dated that man's son? I mean, listen, I'm all for cougars and everything. But come on, what the hell are you doing? Oh, Wyatt, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Justin says, Katie, yeah, I'm just now finding out, Jonathan. That is wild. Oh my goodness, and by wild, I mean like, what the? God damn it, Kyrie's. The kids just said, I want to forget about Katie and Wyatt. Yep, that's some wild shit to me. The sad thing is that I was actually going to sit there and troll Kyrie again, but he was only on for an hour and 1 minute, so he ruined my goddamn fun. God damn it, Kyrie. Lisa says Josh married real life son. Yep, that's right. That's what we're talking about. Lakeisha says B&B undergrad bill has really gone down the toilet. I've heard, I've heard, Lakeisha. I heard from other long time, not just B&B. but also Y and R. So technically, they both have went down the toilet. But that's the thing, though, Lakeisha. Let me ask you a question. People still watch, and the question for you, Lakeisha, is why? Why do people still watch, knowing that the show has went down the toilet? Johnson says, "Do you think B&B needs a new showrunner?" Johnson, let me tell you something. They need a new showrunner. They need a new writer. They need more ideas. They need to start adding more characters and rotating out these other dusty ass characters. Jonathan, they Born and Beautiful needs a whole overhaul. So, Jonathan, the showrunners is only part of it. They need new writers. They need new directors. Jonathan, at this point, they need soap opera influencers to really help that show along. They need soap opera influencers that really, that's the truth. Lakeisha, yes, sadly, they are both. Yep, they are. But Lakeisha, the question is though, why do people still watch? Yes, Tommy, they need a new lot. They need a lot of new things. Lakeisha, I think the older generation still watch it because of nostalgia and because it's what they used to. But show definitely yes, I agree with that, Lakeisha. I agree with that. I agree with that. Johnson says I have an idea for a new rival fashion house for B&B. Lay it on me, my guy. Lay it on me. Lisa says I felt Chloe and Xander were gold. Yeah, Lisa, I feel like the backstage drama is what wound up messing everything up. That's just my guess. Lisa. Yes, lay it on me. What's new fashion house? Johnson says it will be a Hispanic family. I'm with it. I'm 100% with it. Jonathan. Now, Lakeisha, I think they're suffering with a small percentage of young audience who wants better stories to roll out. Yeah, Lakeisha, and they need to listen to that younger audience. Do you hear this, Brad Bell? If you're sitting there listening, you need to sit there and be listening to people in this chat because, God damn it, the Gates is coming out, and I feel like y'all don't have much time to start fixing some of the problems that y'all have. But I'm gonna end the stream here. I do want to try to watch some of the Younger Wrestlers. I may want to fall asleep, but I'm gonna try to watch some of the Younger Wrestlers. I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you again for another 3 goddamn hours for stream. I really appreciate every single one of y'all for sticking around and hanging out and having a good time, listening to some of my drunken haze and just good time. God damn it. Yeah, that took way too long for that last drop. Thank you, Lakeisha. It was really great to see you. Thank you, Tommy. Have a good night. Lisa, have a good night. Tommy, have a good night. Jocelyn says the company will be called David Watch. Okay, we're gonna have to sit there and kind of work on me pronouncing that tomorrow. But okay. Have a good night, Jonathan. Have a good night, Tommy. Have a good night, Darby. Have a good night, Cherry Ice Cream. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for coming through. This is another amazing live stream, and I could not do it without you. Could not do it without all ya. I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank my members for just really being members and still supporting the channel. I want to support my regular people who come through. Who actually stuck through my drunken rant, I guess. Thank you again. Johnson says, join us next time for another edition of Soul Chat with our Bostic. I didn't even actually look at that. I just remember the line. So thank you, Jonathan. Hit that like button on the way out. Share the video if you so inclined, and also become a member. Thank you, friendly talker. I appreciate you. Keep it up with the amazing videos. I'm looking forward to new videos from you. And also subscribe to Friendly Talker. She has an amazing channel, so definitely check her out. Johnson says, how about the DS fashion? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. So stay safe, everyone. Um, Thank you, Cherry Ice Cream. Thank you, Darby, Tommy, Friendly, Hooker, Jonathan, Tracy. Um, Johnson says, good night, everyone. Friendly says, stay blessed, everyone. And if Ron and anyone else, I forgot your name, you know who you are. Just make sure you hit that goddamn like button. Become a member. We're going to have a lot of fun on the weekends. You want to be a part of it. You're a little saucy sometimes, especially when I actually start drinking. But, you know who you are. Have a great night. I will see you in the next live stream. Laters.